Honestly, anybody who is suffering from procrastination and perfectionism in trying to grow your business, watch this video over and over again because this is the only thing you need to know if you want to get over your perfectionism. This is the only thing you need to know, is what I said in this video. All right, so in this video, guys, I want to talk about economies of scale because this is, my biggest lesson for the week, and I really want to, dive in to this concept in this video because economies of scale is essentially the solution to most of our limiting beliefs in business. So I'll give a quick example. Like I have been, in this mindset. I was in this mindset for years, right? For years. The first 6, 7 years of my entrepreneurial journey, I was in this mindset of being afraid to sign new clients, right? Being afraid that I wouldn't be able to deliver the same results as we were getting for our clients at the time, right? And basically, that is a stupid limiting belief. And I'll basically break down in this video why that is the case, right? So the thing is, being scared to underdeliver for clients is a reasonable thing. We should all have that fear because we want to be able to deliver the best quality service to our clients, our customers, right? That's a good fear to have. However, the reality is there can come a way, there can come a way where that is perfectionism, right? It can very easily become perfectionism. And that is just translated into procrastination. Because wanting to be perfect for every client on day one is not realistic. So naturally, you need to be able to be okay with not delivering the best of the best quality of work, um, and the best results for each client from day one. Because here's the thing, by definition, economies of scale basically, what that is, right, is value being created through size. Okay. So essentially, the bigger you are, the more extra leverage you have from different things. Okay. So I'll run you through a story. I'll give you a couple examples of this. There was an agency that I knew about and I worked with them before. And basically, they had, I'll give you two forms of economies of scale leverage that they used. Firstly, so this guy, the founder of this company, he basically just went ham on marketing, right? He would just go ham, try to get as many calls as possible booked on the calendar. They booked like maybe, 500 calls a month on the calendar. And they signed around, 80 to 100 new clients a month. Now, they were actually, you know, they didn't make too much per client. The revenue per client was actually relatively low for quite a while, right? But here's the thing: over a couple of years, they ended up signing thousands and thousands of clients, right? Like over a 4 year period, they signed like, I don't know, let's say almost 5,000 clients. Now, they were able to, number one, they were able to put this on their LinkedIn bio, on their Instagram bio, on their YouTube description, saying like, you know, agency owner with over 5,000 clients. That's number one. By doing that, it immediately creates leverage. Why? They're able to have higher booking rates on their appointments, on their opportunities. They're able to have higher closing rates because on the sales calls, the sales reps are now able to say, "Yeah, we've signed over 5,000 clients." Like by default, that already creates value, right? And this has nothing to do with the quality of the service. Like, quite frankly, it could just mean that they scammed 5,000 people. I'm not saying they did, but a business could quite honestly just scam 5,000 people and they would still have the right to say, we have 5,000 clients, right? We've signed 5,000 clients. That in and of itself creates value, whether it's a scam or whether it's an amazing service, right? Now, that particular business did upsell a lot. They got more revenue over time from upsells, meaning customers repurchased, meaning they weren't too unsatisfied, right? Um, Now, with that said, when I was a customer, I actually paid them as well. They won me as a customer and as a client. The service wasn't that good. It was okay. It was average, right? I think after that time, they might maybe improve the service. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. This guy had the right mindset, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing was they actually created a second lever from the economy of scale, which was due to their size, they were able to have so many clients coming through, like 100 new clients a month. They were able to create a subscription, right, of a recurring thing, and they were able to create a community. So they would have this, this community. Let's say it's either on School or on Discord or Telegram or whatever. And they're able to now have this community, which has a bunch of other people just like you who, they're purchasing the same thing. So they obviously have something in common. Guess what? That community becomes a form of value that they're now able to add in like a value stack on the sales calls, right? This basically creates a whole new product for free, right? It doesn't cost them anything. They just literally putting people in a group. And that also has more leverage because now your customers are congregated in an engaged environment where you're able to upsell them. You're able to send them offers. You're able to have status and leverage, status in there, like you're the leader, right? You're able to have influence. It creates influence. If you can have thousands of people who are paying you every month in a group, you now have an environment where you have pure influence, right? And not only does it help the business have more revenue and have a higher LTV, it also helps the founder and the executive team have more status in real life. So by having size and scale, this guy now has more social status, right? Which we can have as like the third pillar in this equation, right? All of that came for free, just by the way, or if not free, but very minimal cost. That's the power in this. That's now an example. That's one example of economies of scale. Essentially, again, you're creating value due to size, right? Just the mere fact that you are big, it creates extra value that when you're small, it doesn't exist, right? And that's the whole point. And so I'll give another example. I run a cold email agency, Acquirely, right? Right over here. So at Acquirely, or any cold email agency, if an agency is small, they will only have the purchasing power of cheap leads, right? Low quality data sources to source their leads. They'll have limited insights because they can't really send that many emails, right? Like their monthly sending volume is going to be very low if they have like one or two clients plus themselves. Compare that now, okay, to if that agency has 30 active clients, each client is, so let's say if that founder of that agency only has one or two clients and they're trying to do their own marketing, well, they're going to have to spend money out of their own pocket, right? Let's say $300, $400 a month to try and acquire new leads to contact. Well, the thing is, because they only have a budget of $300 to $400, they're going to have to tap into a pool of leads that is being sold to thousands of other businesses, meaning those leads are being contacted way more often, meaning they're way less receptive to the marketing message. Reply rates are going to be lower, booking rates are going to be lower, closing rates are going to be lower. Why? Due to skepticism. Because these people are being contacted all day, every day, 10 times a day by companies in your same niche or in the outbound space who are not very good at business, and they probably underdeliver. They don't deliver anything near what they promise. So this pool of leads is highly skeptical in all ways, and that influences every link in the chain. And so ultimately, like the end result will be, the amount of emails you need to send to get one client is night and day difference because they all compound. Each link compounds. So like if you're tapping into a bad data source due to like not having purchasing power, basically you have to send like 100,000 emails to get a client. Now let's flip that scenario. Let's say you can tap into a much higher quality data source of new leads who are not being contacted very often by these, broke agencies who all have to use this bottom of the barrel lead database. Let's say you can tap into the top tier. Let's say it's seamless.ai or Zoom info or something. Like, you can get some really nice quality leads, right? Well, the thing is, like, you only need to send 10,000 or 20,000 emails to get a client. So everything becomes better. Now you have better case studies you can show to people. You have much better results. You automatically just look like you're a better cold emailer in this case, right? In this niche. So all of that has leverage. So now let's say, right, we're still using the exact same unit economics per client. Let's say we're spending $400 per client per month on leads, okay? Well, if we have now 30 clients, now we have 30 times 400, which is, if my math is correct, $12,000. We can now spend $12,000 per month as a company to scrape different types of leads. Okay? We now have enough budget to be able to hire one or two or even three full-time people. Okay, if it's in Asia or South Africa, you can do it for like $1,500. That's a really, really good salary for them, full time. And all they have to do all day, every day, is get the highest quality leads. That's their job, right? So not only are you now able to get much, much better quality leads, you're able to get much better results for your clients. You're also able to create full time jobs that's able to create real impact in the economy. You're able to put real food on real people's table, right? You're able to help them get a home loan, help them survive, creating full time jobs. All due to the fact that you're big. And that's not even big, that's only 30 clients. So now imagine if we have 100 clients, right? We now have 100 clients, same allocation. Unit economics doesn't change in terms of costs, right? But guess what? This client, each client is better off if you have more clients, as long as you're actually spending the $400 in this example on the leads per client, because now you can spend $40,000 a month. That's $480,000 a year. Okay? $500,000 a year just acquiring data. Okay? And that's only with 100 active clients. So now guess what? Because you can spend $500,000 a year just on acquiring this data, you're going to get every little bit of the highest quality data. Okay? You're also able to make massive discount contract deals with vendors because they want the money, right? You can easily sign a $30,000 a year contract with one of these vendors who will give you half price on the leads because they want the $30,000 a year. And that's only 30K out of the 500,000 or 480,000. So you can do multiple of these deals. You can also employ probably a team of 10, 20, 30 people full time. You're helping these people by giving them job security, right? That all comes from being big, right? You can't do that if you have one or two clients. So it is actually a disservice. It is a disservice to the world by you being small. If your business is small, you're actually impacting the world less because you're only impacting the world more when you're able to have more security, more flow, right? And so, yeah, like being able to create a larger and larger budget is value in and of itself. And that's only at 100 clients. Let's say you have 200, 300, 400, 500 active clients. You're now spending 200 grand a month, right? And again, like that's if we're keeping the unit economics the same per client. However, another form of value would be that now we don't have to spend $400. I mean, if you're spending 200 grand a month, you probably can't even acquire any more data. Like you've already won the battle. You've already acquired all the data on the planet. If you're spending $2.5 million a year acquiring data, you've got it all. Okay, you've scraped every person on Instagram. You've scraped every person on LinkedIn, every person on Facebook, like every person on Google, every website in the world you can do for $2.5 million a year. So like it's done. So at that point, now just due to size, okay, you can now do what no other small agency can do, which is you can charge less. So they can get your clients can get now the same quality leads, okay, for cheaper. they don't have to spend $400 each per month, right? Now they only have to spend $200. So now automatically you're having their cost, which is an actual savings, right? That is an actual value add. And again, like that only comes from being bigger. So that's one pillar that I just described. One pillar in my particular business, right? There are multiple pillars here. I'll give you another example now of the second pillar. The second pillar in my business, if I had, 500 clients active, well, the thing is, right, you can literally throw shit at the wall and see what sticks and still win. In fact, that's the only way to win, is being willing to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. You don't have to be the expert from day one. Now, obviously, the more you do, the more experience you're going to gain, right? Um, so this is more for people who like are starting out and they're scared and you're worried and overthinking and procrastinating and trying to have perfectionism. It's a waste of time. All you got to do is start. Here's why. If you have 100 active clients and each one of them are paying, in my case, they're paying for the infrastructure to send 100,000 emails a month, right? That's what we do at Acquire. We are like target to send 100,000 emails per month per client. Um, in the theory where I did not do that before, if I was just starting out, I would sell the same package, to be honest. And my only goal would be to get as many clients as possible, as fast as possible, and to make sure that we're sending 100,000 emails per month per client. Why? Because if we have 100 active clients, okay, number one, just like that other agency who was able to say we've signed 5,000 clients, well, we'd be able to say, which is something very rare, we'd be able to say, yeah, we sent 10 million emails last month, right? Which is something most of the agencies cannot say. That is tremendous value. Why? Because if you send 10 million emails, if you don't gain knowledge, insights, experience from that, you got to be stupid, man. Like, no one, basically, what I'm saying is like, nobody is not going to learn and get better by sending 10 million emails a month. Okay? It's 120 million emails a year. Like, all of the experience comes from that. Okay? So, just by the mere fact that we're sending 10 million emails a month, we are better. Why? Because even if you're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, the other side of that expression, the other side of that quote or whatever that's saying is things are gonna stick, right? And so all you got to do is look at what sticks. You're finding what works and then apply that to all the other clients. So let's say there's, 90% of the clients are getting average results for the first 60 days and 10% of the clients are succeeding. Well, guess what? You're going to now be able to see what is working in that bottom 10% or that top 10% of the clients. And you can now apply those same lessons to the other 90% of the clients, which is improving everyone's results, right? It's improving everyone's results. So that's the powerful thing here. So again, like that is an economy of scale. You're getting extra, like a ton of extra value. Usually the most value, right? The most value that we get in business is actually due to size, it's due to scale. So scale and size of the company and size of your deal flow and everything, it has the biggest impact to your success and your client's success. It is the most ethical thing to do is to be big. It's actually like the way I see it now is it's unethical to be small. I don't want to be small. It's a disservice to my clients. Like I care about my clients. I want them to win. I want them to be rich. The best chance I have for making them rich is for me to have as many of them as possible so we can congregate and consolidate all of those insights, right? And actually become more experienced, become better at what we do. And again, like being big and doing a lot is the fastest way to do that because you just gain the most experience. So yeah, guys, there's now that's just two pillars, okay, in my particular business on how size and scale would actually solve most of the problems. And so there's more. There's more, obviously, to that, which is like I'll give a third pillar, which is, and again, the first pillar was the cost of the leads, is like, and better quality leads. The other thing would be our partners. We like partner with Google partners, right? Um, and we're able to get inboxes for significantly cheaper, right? Well, the thing is, like, if we're ordering 100 inboxes from them, Google Workspace accounts, versus if we're ordering 10,000 Google Workspace accounts, we're going to be getting those Google Workspace accounts for significantly cheaper. Significantly cheaper. Okay. Why? Because we're giving them a, at that point, like $20,000 to $25,000 monthly bill. Like, we're paying them 20 grand a month, right? Like, of course they want our business, because then it just becomes a matter of, hey, do you want this $300,000 a year contract from us, right? Or not? So, like, yeah, you might have to give it to someone else, like, at a lower volume, you might get, for the same amount of inboxes, you might get 30 or $35,000 per year, per month, right? So, like, yeah, I do want it for 20,000 a month instead of 30. And they'll do it. Why? Because it's an extra $240,000 a year for them. It's worth the amount of volume is worth it for them to give a big discount. And again, like, that's not our necessary benefit. That's our clients' benefit. Only through the fact that we're able to actually pay as a congregated payment as a company, $20,000 a month bill, which most other companies are not able to afford. We're able to get our clients, in that case, much cheaper infrastructure, right? Which other agencies are not able to get for them. And guys, that is on top of the other benefits that I've mentioned. That is on top of. So economies of scale are not one or one or one. It's one plus one plus one. And quite frankly, it's one times one times one. It's more like 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.5. So it compounds like crazy, because every example of these three things that I just mentioned, they all work simultaneously by getting big. They all happen at the same time by having 100 clients instead of 2 clients. Okay? That's the difference. That's the difference. And these three pillars, or these three benefits, or pieces of lever that I these levers that I mentioned in my business particularly, that's just three of them. There's more. There's tons of them. It's like 10, 15, 20 different things compounded in this one thing of being bigger, right? Like, I can go on for ages. Like, we can launch a coaching program so much easier if we're sending 10 million emails a month versus if we have like almost no results. Like, it's just a massive difference. If we're sending 10 million emails a month, and let's say we're getting a 0.1% opportunity rate, we're generating 10,000 opportunities a month. We're booking 20% of those onto a call. We're booking 2,000 calls a month, right? So, like, we'd be able to say in a coaching program, VSL, we booked 25,000 calls last year. Like, let us teach you how we did that. Like, let us teach you how to fill your calendar. Why? Because we know how to fill calendars, right? We booked 25,000 meetings. Like, that all comes from just having scale. That's a fourth pillar. Just an example, right? A fifth pillar could be a community, right? Which is like, now, because you have so much flow, again, like the first agency, you can do the same thing, right? Create a community around this topic. Now you have an upsell mechanism, right? Where you can upsell all kinds of things. You also have a low ticket offer now that you can give to people. It's a lead magnet. It's like, hey, we got a community of 2,000 people who are all agency owners, who are all trying to grow through cold email, or they're all trying to scale their deal flow. You can join for free. It's invite only. I'll give you an invite. All right. And then you can, like, add value in that group. Boom, boom, boom. You got a lead magnet. You got a lead nurturing mechanism. That you cannot have that if you only have 2 people in the group. It doesn't work like that. Through scale, and by the way, the more people in the group, the more status you have, the more influence you have, right? The easier sales calls become to close, because you become an influencer, right? In that specific space. 10,000 members, 15, 20,000 members. Why? Because you're sending so many emails, right? In this example, this is just an example for my company, right? Now you can apply these same concepts to your own business, but this is the main point here: is economies of scale is the ultimate solution. Um, and it is a disservice to all of your clients and yourself if you're not trying to make your company as large as possible and getting as many clients as possible to just like create as much flow as possible. It is a disservice because like it is helping the whole world and your clients and yourself and your family. It's helping everyone if you just try to play big, right? And playing small helps literally no one. It helps no one. It keeps you average. It keeps you not earning enough money for yourself, meaning you can't help your family. It allows you to not be able to hire those people who ask for a job. I would much rather be in a position where I have thousands of clients paying so much every month that we have millions of dollars we need to spend on payroll that we have to spend. And someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I need a job. Do you have something for me? I'll be like, yeah, sure. Like, here's a link to apply for an interview. Or screw it. I don't even need to give them an interview. Yeah, sure. Here's a job. Try. Here's $1,000 a month. Here's 2 grand a month. Let's try. Right? I'd much rather be in that position. The only way that position can be created is by being big enough. And that has nothing to do with being good. Good comes as a byproduct of size. Truly. Because size includes experience. That's the lesson. So, honestly, anybody who is suffering from procrastination and perfectionism in trying to grow your business, watch this video over and over again because this is the only thing you need to know if you want to get over your perfectionism. This is the only thing you need to know, is what I said in this video. And yeah, just go and crush it. So hope you guys got value from this. If you need one-on-one help scaling your business, if you need, I don't know, even consulting or whatever, you can hit the link below, book a call. It's free, and you can, speak to either me or my team, and we're here to help. And I'll talk to you guys soon.